This week on Storytime at the Rubus, it's a remote episode. Sharla's back home in Huntsville while I'm in New York. We talk about some Rue EDM news and talk about what's going on up here.
Welcome to Storytime at the Rubus, a weekly podcast about Bonnaroo and other festivals. I'm your host, Sharla.
Hey everybody, I'm Daniel coming to you from Newark, New Jersey tonight, where I am this week. You know what's funny is we got 2 feet of snow around here, but I think the temperature is roughly the same here as it is back home for you in Huntsville.
So today it's at 33 degrees, but then underneath that it said feels like 21.
I think the feels like was pretty close to that around here. I stepped outside and I was like, nope. I took one small walk around the block here near Penn Station where I'm at, and it was pretty brutal. It was 70 something in Huntsville just a couple of days ago. So that was a tough change for me. How are you handling it?
Oh, not good at all. So last week it was in the 70s. Saturday I had to work, and then after work, it was like late afternoon. Actually, I went to Straight Ale here in Huntsville where Brooklyn works, and I actually sat on the patio. Like, that's how warm it was outside. And it was like super crowded. Everybody was outside. Everybody was doing stuff. Like, we actually had our university's homecoming event, and they had a tailgate outside and tons of people. Like, and now it's just literally, it was freezing outside. Like, it was 20, but feels like 21. Like, no, it was so cold. It was frigidly cold.
We have come to the time of the year where it's kind of this case for a lot of people. You get like the fall, spring, and then like revenge of winter for a couple of weeks, you know?
And it messes with everybody's like sinuses and stuff, and everybody's getting headaches and all kinds of stuff. I know, like, my skin is like, my eczema is like flaring up so bad.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's been a little weird for me up here too. Thankfully for me and you, we're going to go to where it's warm next week. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, it's been a little wild over here in Jersey City and Newark and everything, and over in the NYC area. The weather was like nice enough. The first day I was over here, it was like 40 degrees. I have to give a big shout out to a lot of people that made their way over to come hang with me the other day. There's going to be too many to list, but Lisa was there, Joms was there, Christy was there. And of course, I hung out with Evan and Skylar and stayed at their place. I finally got to meet Nico. I don't know if anybody has ever talked about him, but he's this little sausage dog. And guess what? I don't know if I told you this, babe. It was his birthday. I
saw where it was his birthday.
I think it was his 15th birthday. So I got to hang out with him. He is an adorable little sausage. But yeah, we had a great time. Hung out with Fuzzy. I don't know if you met him. He's up here in the area. Had a good time with him at that Dead show last year. Him and his wife. Fuzzy's a funny guy. You should meet him sometime. But we had a blast. What's that?
Doesn't he camp with us, or is that somebody else?
I believe he does, yeah. But I had a great time with such a good... It's hard to remember everybody that camp. We have like 100 people that camp with us? You put the group together. You tell me. But I had a little bit of a show.
We have like 10, so...
I have a little bit of a show and tell. So like this was the view outside of my window at my hotel room. So this was after a lot of plows came through. There's still 2 feet out there. It's been a little nuts. I haven't been able to get anywhere today. So shout out to everybody in the whole, like, basically upper East Coast that's been dealing with this the past couple of days. They tell me that this is the first time in over a decade that it has been to this extent. And you and I have been joking around over text. It was probably about to be a planes, trains, and automobiles situation like with John Candy and Steve Martin for me getting home here in a couple of days. But I think it's going to be just fine, babe.
Hopefully.
Yeah. But I've had a blast. One thing I do want to shout out, I had a really good time at Ed and Mary's, the place that hosted the Totem fundraiser about a month or two ago. Fantastic place. I think it has become another one of these unofficial, quasi-official Totem haunts, just like Rosemary's has over in East Nashville. So from now on, when I'm in this area, I want our meetups, official or not, to happen over at Ed and Mary's. I will tell you, it's not as big as I thought it was. It's a little bit bigger than like the Voodoo Lounge back at Huntsville, and that's it. And for those of you in Huntsville, you know what I'm talking about.
I was going to ask size comparison to Voodoo.
Twice as big, maybe? Almost twice as big. It's not that big. I had a good time in there. They were coming off the buzz of the USA hockey team winning the gold medal, and then it turned into a football bar. And I don't mean American football. I mean like Premier League football.
Like
there was
soccer.
a lot of rabid people watching that, and that was a lot of fun. Not something I know or understand well, but I had a good time hanging out with everybody that did. So yes, Ed Mary's, we heartily recommend them if you are in the New York area. Make a trip over the river over into Jersey City to go over there. You will not be disappointed. Charlotte, we did have a lot of stuff to talk about this week. I had you look up a couple of things. There was some news about like EDM additions to the lineup. Shaky Knees is coming tomorrow as of the time that we're recording this. But before we get to that, I do have about a 10-minute clip that I'm going to edit in of me hanging out with a bunch of those friends that I mentioned over in the Village area in New York. You've been there. You were there with us last year. The East Village and Greenwich and all that has turned into my favorite area of NYC. We hit that up the other night. So while we were going from one place to another, I had the GoPro out and talked with some of my buddies, just talking about kind of like, not just the neighborhood, but kind of the venues and musical history of the neighborhood. So I think we're going to throw it at that, and then you and I will be right back to talk a lot of routine. Welcome to the East Village, I believe. Is that still where we are?
Yes, for now.
Good to see you, Evan.
We're migrating on our way to the Lower East Side.
Thank you so much for hosting me in New York for the third year in a row this time of the year. I will try to get better weather on order next time I'm over here.
Maybe try to stop coming in February.
Yeah, maybe I should do that, actually. That's just
like
too
in
bad,
April
man.
or September.
So tell me a little bit about the Village over here. This has been one of my favorite neighborhoods in town. Whenever I come to visit you guys, you take me over here, we go bar hopping. You are the mayor, apparently.
I wouldn't go that far, but
I would.
Everybody else around him would. Everybody else around him would say he's the mayor.
Tell me why the vibe of this place is great for you.
it has a very strong density of very pure bars. Unlike Midtown, which is very touristy. There's a lot of people around. Yeah, go left on this up here, and then just keep going straight for like 10 blocks.
We're actively on the way.
I walked in this bounce on it crazy.
But yes, you were saying.
This is kind of like, I actually saw, you know those memes where they have maps of like what kind of people live where?
Yeah, yeah.
I saw one a couple weeks ago. This is like the aging punk neighborhood.
I can very much see it.
So, but there's a lot of people here that know what they're doing.
There's kind of
a little more local flavor.
There's kind of a very elder millennial vibe around here.
And you're also not getting burned by like tourist prices like the places around here.
Yeah, I just got a beer for $5. That's
Yeah.
unheard of in this town.
Yeah, and so you kind of have to know what you're doing to find the good places around here.
Tell me about some of the good venues around here.
There's Webster Hall, which is we're at 7, which is at 11, so it's about 4 blocks up. Pretty legendary. Mercury Lounge, we're about to walk past this way. I think there's a lot of like other very smaller venues, like a couple hundred people or less. Bowery, Electric Sky. What other venues are on?
Skylar's here, by the way. Hey, we were asking Evan about like what are some of the great venues to see shows at around here.
There's some good ones. One of the newer ones is Lucinda's, Lucinda Williams Bar.
The Black Keys played there last night.
Black Keys played there last night. Margot Price went to hang out after her Webster Hall show on Thursday.
I'll figure out.
You can get some good country dancing, some good Americana music.
Ooh.
It's excellent. Yeah, Bowery Electric, Bowery Ballroom.
No?
There's a venue
Mercury
down
Lounge.
here called The Stone. I don't know if it's still open, but I saw a show there years and years and years ago, and we couldn't find it. We like walked by it a couple of times, and we eventually asked somebody like, "Is this the right place?" And they were like, "Oh yeah, the name of it is under the door handle." So it's like very secretive.
I like
But there's
how
like you can stumble across so many things here.
I like the speakeasy nature of some things. Like today,
Yeah.
we went to an awesome bar that was in the back of a Five Guys, of
Yeah.
all things.
There's another one actually. The first speakeasy I went to in the city, it's in Criff Dogs, which was at Bonnaroo the first year I went in 2011. They had like breakfast hot dogs and stuff. But you go in through Criff Dogs and you get into a phone booth, and it's this whiskey bar called Please Don't Tell.
You're telling.
It's
Oh my
lovely.
God, you're telling.
Oh, everybody knows about it. We've been going there for years, darling.
All right, I have another question.
I have another answer.
How the hell are we going to handle this literal blizzard that's coming into town?
The way we always do, babe. We have a handle of bourbon at home.
That's a
The
good plan.
power's probably not going to go out. I don't think my kitchen pipes are going to freeze this time.
Did they freeze last time?
They did, yeah. That
Oh,
side
no.
of our apartment is like really exposed, and the one kitchen pipe froze, but it thawed out pretty quickly, thankfully.
Oh goodness, I don't think it's supposed to be that cold
No,
during
it's not
the
going to be
blizzard.
like drip your pipes
Yeah.
temperature, thankfully.
Whew, we had to do a little bit of that in Huntsville a while back.
Oh, my mom
sucks.
has like a well in her backyard, and all of her pipes froze up when it got really cold in North Carolina.
Gosh, I'm gonna run up here. We're gonna get another guy on.
Yeah.
Let's get.
Oh, I see a guy.
I see a guy right over here. Hey, Jones, how's it going?
Hola.
Getting you on here again.
Very welcome.
I'm so happy to see you this weekend.
I heard rumors that you didn't believe it, that I was gonna make it up.
You know,
here.
at this point, I believe anything when it comes to you.
Where
Now-
in the world is Jumsy San Diego?
We're doing this little thing, just giving a little tour of the village while we're all in town. So, you told me the last time you were here was like, what, 7 years ago or something like that?
No, I was here a couple years ago.
Couple
but
years ago?
Last
Okay.
time I was in East Village was, like 2017.
Yeah.
But, it's a great time. Anytime I come back, get to watch my Yankees.
Ah, they're
Get
looking.
the
I was just looking at
play.
some updates. Your boy Judge hit another homer today.
2 homers today. They
Yeah.
won like 20-3, I think. So it's the first day of
Goodness.
spring training. That doesn't mean jack.
Hey, the Braves did okay on their first game today too.
Amen. But back to New York.
yeah.
It's a great time here. You literally got culture in every corner, and you can't beat that.
I love this part of town especially because like Skylar was just saying, it's not that touristy. There's like a little bit of charisma and community on every corner around here. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we were just talking about this too. How the hell are you going to handle this winter storm tomorrow?
Hey,
You supposed to drive to Philly tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow,
continuing the world tour.
the world tour continues, so we're going to try to go to Philly tomorrow morning. We'll see what the snow does. But, I don't have much to get back to. Well, I shouldn't say that. I make it sound like it's a bad thing, but no, I'm flexible, so may or may not be. I've been doing some yoga.
Ah!
But, we'll be in Philly, and then we'll play it by ear from there.
Please drive safe. You have me a little worried.
Absolutely. Yep, we'll make it. The Honda Civic, Wanda the Honda, she'll make
Wanda
it.
the Honda.
She'll make it.
Wanda is always a solid person to rely on from my
Amen.
experience. Yeah, you know her too.
Amen.
All right, I think we're headed to another bar over here. On here, I have look. We're on East 3rd and 2nd Avenue. I've been in New York enough to get a general geographic location from those kind of
Have a nice
things.
dry white.
Have you?
East, yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
okay.
Streets are horizontal, avenues are up and down.
All right, Evan. Yeah. Thank you for hosting us in
You're
your town, where you're the mayor, obviously.
You're very welcome.
Thank
Thank you for voting for me.
Checks in the mail.
Appreciate your vote.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to throw it back to future me and Sharla. Let's go.
All right. Big thanks to everybody. Skylar, Jums, Evan.
Yeah. When Jums walked in the door or that one place that we were hanging out, like I just jumped into his arms. He like picked me up. I had such a good time with him. I did hear that he made it back safely to Ohio, the Cincinnati area. He thought he was going to
Okay.
go to Philly, but he is still on the world tour. It never stops.
No.
It's insanity. Now, Sharla, I know you have been working today, and I've been fighting this blizzard and figuring out what I'm doing with work up here. But there has been some news drop in the past couple of days, as I understand it. You've been a little bit more on top of it than I have. So tell me what's up.
I wouldn't say that I've been on top of it, but yesterday, Festive Owl put out some information about some new EDM shows that are coming to Bonnaroo, apparently. Let me just read you what Festive Owl put out. On Sunday, Festive Owl posted, and this Sunday being yesterday, I said more on this soon, and soon is now. Ganja White Night plus Enzo will both join the Bonnaroo lineup on Friday, June the 12th, including a special sunrise set Saturday morning with Enzo. With that, the other gets a late night schedule boost as well as Ganja into Enzo.
Yeah,
And
I
then
think that's pretty good.
below that, Festive Owl said, important note here, this is a late night stage. Acts going until the sun comes up on Friday and Saturday, and there's even more bass still to come. More info on that soon.
Yeah, I think this is an area where Bonnaroo is really putting their money where their mouth is. There had been talk that people wanted to see some more EDM, and I personally believe they have delivered and then some with all of these additions. I think a lot of people kind of saw this coming because there was an Instagram post that had a Ganja White Night song in it. So it's like, yeah, they wouldn't have done that on accident, and clearly they didn't. When those kind of things happen, there's clearly a reason for it. So yes, now we have some other big additions, not just on the other, but over at the new Wear stage as well, with a lot of different things. I think this is going to make a lot of people feel a lot better about what they may have seen as a little bit of a lower tier lineup compared to other lineups, especially when it came to EDM in the past. You know, I've been hearing a lot of good things from everybody that we've been talking with. Have you been hearing the same?
Yes, absolutely, of course. I have seen out there a little bit of why so much bass. I've seen a lot of people saying that. And then I've actually seen comments out there of why are they adding so much EDM? Can they add some things that are not EDM so much? And, you know, the answer to that's pretty simple. I mean, it obviously it's going to cost less usually to add one DJ versus a whole band. You know, in production terms and things like that. But as far as why so much bass and things like that, you know, a lot of people were asking that when someone posted about it on Reddit, and a lot of people were asking that on the Live Nation Discord, which is Festiverse. And Bonnaroo actually did respond, you know, with a couple of things on there.
Well, these days it's pretty much just Corey. Last year we had Brad that would pop in on like literally everything. He couldn't stand the attention not being on him. Corey is a little less frequent on that particular Festiverse Discord, but he did pop in. I saw you sent me this. To answer your question, he was saying that the EDM editions are partially because we had a whole ass late night EDM stage to fill, which is the case with two of them, really. It wasn't the original intention to go so hard on the Wear, and it might not be like that in the future, but we got a little carried away, and here we are. I'm okay with that. I don't think anybody's going to complain with that, Corey. He often listens. He says, we got a lot of feedback from fans who loved the bass lineup last year that we had to hold in the lineup this year initially, so we used that space. We had to serve that. We can talk about the alleged other additions in here in a couple of days, if that's not just a rumor. That must be what he's talking about.
Right.
I will say, you know, I am not the deepest EDM guy, but I do talk to a lot of people who are waist deep in that whole scene. And it feels to me like there is more appreciation for the bass type stuff at Bonnaroo than many other festivals. I have seen stuff like that at Halloween or Okeechobee. I think like Electric Forest gets a fair handful, but to me, anecdotally, it feels like there is a bigger fan base for that type of stuff at Roo. And clearly they heard from people that wanted to see that. So I do love that Bonnaroo is filling that gap and giving the people what they want, clearly.
Right. I agree. I'm also not the biggest EDM person at all. But I understand how well that EDM sold last year. I mean, last year was a very EDM heavy lineup. Matter of fact, I would say I'm one of the very few people who wasn't a huge fan of last year's lineup.
You've said this before, yeah.
But I can see how much it sold. I can see how well it sold. So I understand that from a sales perspective.
I got a question to pose to you. Would you personally, you know, given your own taste, prefer to have less expensive indie bands than less expensive EDM acts? Like, it's probably a little bit more expensive to book a whole band because you got like a number of people bringing in the equipment. A DJ, it's probably just like one or two people and their CDJs. That's it. But do you have a preference, or do you like seeing a little bit of everything?
I would rather see a little bit of everything.
Yeah, same. I do think they are striking a very good balance this year. Like, we are going very ham on guitars this year. There are a lot of great indie bands, and we have like one of the indie bands with the Strokes. I think that's a good fit. I do have to wonder, we aren't really a business podcast. We let the What Podcast handle more of that. So maybe I'll ask Taco to cover it on their podcast. Like, what are the logistics and the financials of booking a bunch of bands as opposed to EDM? I do think that if you look at it in terms of like booking bands first, then you can use the finances that are left over to get a bunch of DJs. And maybe that's what happened this year. I don't know. I'm speaking speculation, not knowledge. But given that we had a good indie band heavy lineup to start with back when the lineup was first out, and now we're getting a lot of great additions, it kind of feels like that's the direction things are going. You know, I don't think we're going to have like any huge band additions, but having a lot of these like DJ additions like adds a lot, and it's probably a good bang for their buck.
Right. I agree, Daniel. And, you know, clearly don't know anything about this either. I'm just going by what I've read. You know, I go by the things that I read online on our Discord and on Reddit, of course.
Yeah. But I do think it's a good move. I do think it will move a handful of tickets. I think it is going to make people feel better about their purchase if they have already made it. You talked a couple of weeks ago about how you were noticing on Reddit that a lot of people were saying like, I might have changed my mind. I might be selling my ticket now. And I think this might reassure a lot of that kind of crowd.
Yeah, you know, you're right, because I did see comments after this came out, after Festive Owl posted this yesterday. I've actually saw a couple of different comments that said, I wasn't going to go this year, or, oh man, I wish I was going this year. I can't believe I'm not going. Things like that. Which is, I was kind of surprised to see that, because people were just like, oh man, I hate this lineup. It sucks. I'm never going again.
Listen, I'm going to speak a little bluntly. I don't get that attitude. Like, I understand and empathize if people had like a really hard time in the mud pit last year and they're like, I don't know about this. But if you're looking at it in terms of a lineup, saying that like, oh, this isn't the Bonnaroo I knew, you're kind of becoming like Grandpa Simpson waving your fist at the cloud at that point, to be honest. Like, for me and you, given our age range, there's always a handful of acts I don't know, and I have to look up. But I'm okay with that because I want to keep current on like what's good, what's new. There are always going to be bands that I know and love that are going to be there, like The Strokes, for example, this year.
But don't tell me if there was a camping festival that was, so Bonnaroo is an hour and a half away from us. If there was another camping festival that was an hour and a half away from us, and they had Tame Impala, which one would you go to?
Yeah, this year, if another one had Tame, if I wasn't so invested in Bonnaroo and had a bus and a nonprofit that was deeply tied with them, I would probably go to the other one that had Tame. But
there you go. There's your answer.
Yeah, I know.
That's why people think that. That's because they're going to the festivals with the artists that they like, that they want to, you know, they're going to the EDM specific festivals. Sorry, dogs.
That's one thing that makes me feel at home when the dogs are doing something insane in the background.
But they're going to the EDM specific festivals. You know?
The dogs are?
Yeah, the dogs are.
The dogs are. What EDM acts do the dogs like? We know Truman likes Bad Bunny.
Well, yeah.
I
don't know about the other dog.
Ricky likes bluegrass. Ricky loves Billy Strings. That's his favorite. Billy Strings had an incredible run at Nashville the other night. That's one thing I was paying attention to. Oh. But yeah, babe, I agree. I think these moves are good. There are other announcements. It is not our announcement to make, but we have been privy to something that is coming before too long. At a certain group party, we cannot say anything, but there will be things to learn about that before too long, and I think a lot of people are going to be very happy. That's as much as I'll say.
Please don't say anything.
Not saying anything, but a lot of people will be very, very, very happy, and you should plan on getting there on Wednesday, if at all possible, even though Skrillex is not until Thursday. We will leave that to people more involved than us to announce when they're ready. Speaking of indie bands, there is another thing I did kind of want to go into. So by the time many of you are listening to this, you will know what past Daniel and Sharla don't know about. But at some point tomorrow, on what is tomorrow, the 24th, whatever this coming Tuesday is.
Tuesday the 24th.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
The Shaky Knees lineup will be out. So they put out a little teaser thing. I like the new art style. It's got kind of like a bathroom wall situation at your favorite dive bar with a lot of tattoo looking things. The lineup for Shaky Knees is coming tomorrow. While we don't know, we have heard a couple of things rumored that may potentially show up. I hate to even name any of them because by the time you hear this or watch this on YouTube, you will know the lineup. But I will say, from what I think is coming, it's probably going to get me back this year. Shaky Knees is always a good festival for me. I have only done it twice. You did it once. Tell me what you thought of it the time that we did go.
It's probably my favorite city festival that I've been to. And I liked it because it was within a reasonable walkable distance to the hotels.
Yeah, now it's at a new location now.
Oh, is it? I've seen that's been how long ago we went.
Shaky Knees is odd in that it has moved to a number of different locations. I like the one that it was at, and forgive me, I don't remember that particular Atlanta geography at the moment. I liked where it was previously. There was like two stages. You kind of had to go down the hill to the other one. it was a pretty nice setup. I have heard from Taco and Maddie and others that have been going to the new location just a little bit north of there, that I understand that it's just a little bit better. But Shaky Knees has a unique character. It's very specific to Atlanta. Obviously, it is more like rock band centric, which you don't really see that much of anymore these days, to be quite honest. So I think that gives it a leg up. It just has a good vibe. We have come to love a lot of the things about Atlanta that aren't necessarily Midtown or around the Braves Park, something like Little 5 Points or some of the other areas. And Shaky Knees is very representative of that type of vibe that you see in those other little hipster neighborhoods in Atlanta. Would you say so?
Sure.
Sure. You don't agree?
No, I just thought you was going to say something else.
Oh, well, you'll have to get with me
Can you
about
pull
that.
the thing back up where it said lineup coming tomorrow?
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm getting that. One other thing I will say that I love about Shaky is how they handle their late night situation. So they do have a curfew because, it's downtown Atlanta. There's neighborhoods nearby. But they just kind of like take the party to some of the other well-known venues in town. I went with Andrew and Taco to go see Pond a couple of years ago. Had a time of my life with them. That was such a blast. But what were you saying about this graphic?
Okay, I love how you didn't crop any of these screenshots.
Oh, it's just coming from the app. Listen, you've been working. I'm up here for work. So we're just having to make do with what we've got, man.
Secondly, what do you call this artwork?
It feels like the stuff that you see on the bathroom wall in a dive bar.
Those are supposed to look like flash tattoos, honey.
Well, I know, but that's just the vibe that it gives me. Oh, let me tell you something that I saw funny yesterday. I don't think I'll be able to put the video in here, but I'll have to just describe it the best. So I went in this one bar in New York yesterday. Evan's like, hey, even if you don't have to go to the bathroom, you should go to that bathroom and just go in there and look. I walk in and I'm like, what? This just feels like, like any other bathroom at a classy cocktail joint. Then I turn around and like the whole door is full of doorknobs. And I'm like,
oh,
man,
yeah.
if you weren't of like the right frame of mind, you would probably be stuck in there for 10 minutes. Like, is it this one? Is it this one? Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've got snaps of that previously.
Yeah. I don't remember the name of that place, but it was fantastic. I'm sure he will let everybody know on Discord. But that was my favorite of the 3 or 4 that he took me to yesterday. But yeah, bringing it full circle. Ed and Mary's, man, that's my new favorite up here in the area. Not even in New York. It's over in Jersey City. I love that place so much. I do other person I want to shout out while that's on my mind real quick. Kara, who many people know as like one of the most fanatical Goose fans there is, probably the top Goose fan in the world. She brought me a bunch of this candy that she had been meaning to give me for a while. So there's one with like Rubus. There's one with like King Gizzard. I was so happy to see her. I hung out with her for quite a while yesterday. She was trying to talk me into going to see STS9. They were playing over in the Village. But I was like, man, Evan's been looking forward to hosting me for a long time. We went back to their place and we just played N64 games until 1 a.m. We're playing like Pokemon Stadium and Mario Tennis and stuff. I had such a good time with them. I'm going back to Ed and Mary's with them tomorrow night for one last dinner before come home to you before we got some traveling to do.
Man, I'm kind of jealous. Oh my God, I should have went.
Yeah, well, we shall return. This has become an annual thing to come up here to New York area. I have come to love it. There is a lot of musical history up here, as we have talked about with Skylar many times on previous episodes. It's just a good vibe. Many of our listeners know. It's good people up here, good vibes. I think the Northeast can sometimes get a bad rep as being like a little blunt, a little efficiently rude. Maybe that's a way to put it. But I can't go into a place without making new friends, man. Whenever I'm up here in the New York area, it's a good place. There's a lot of good souls up here.
Good Jersey people.
Just good Jersey people, man. Let me tell you, I before I go off on this tangent, was there anything else about Shaky Knees?
Not for me.
Okay, well, we'll dive into that next week when the full lineup is out. I will say there are some beginning conversations about some totem things that may be happening at Shaky Knees, but nothing's really set in stone yet, so we'll have to let everybody know as we get closer. Before I jump to my last story, though, I do want to tell you, so since we're kind of like doing a remote situation this week, we aren't going to have like the full Patreon list, but you people know who you are. Thank you very much for your support. It is at patreon.com/Rubus, and you can learn more about Totem at totemfnd.org. And Sharla, we only have like a few more weeks or one more week left to apply for scholarships, right?
Scholarships close February the 28th. February the 28th. If you know someone between the ages of 21 and 25 who wants to attend Bonnaroo on a Totem scholarship, please, please, please tell them to apply. totemfnd.org.
Thank you very much. So you got one more week. Get them to send that along. We would love to consider them. And if you know anybody that is coming for their first RU and would like to take part in our mentorship program, we plan on opening up applications for mentees like late March, early April. There's a lot of reasons for that, but we're doing a lot of things behind the scenes as we speak to make sure that our mentors are ready to go. We're kind of streamlining that program a little bit this year. So more information coming on that soon later. Thank you again to our Patreons, patreon.com/Rubus. Learn about Totem at totemfnd.org. Like I always say, just like your favorite local band says, big things are coming soon. But yes, I do have one more story before we end this brief-ish episode tonight. Talking about musical stuff up in the New York area. I was invited to this amazing thing yesterday, kind of in the Jersey City / Hoboken area. All the neighborhoods are kind of mashed together. Sometimes it's hard for me to remember where I am exactly, but somewhere in that area. A friend of Evan and Scholars, his name is Dan, only Dan's again. He hosts a listening party where the idea is you have a person that picks a vinyl and you have to put your phones away. Nobody says much of anything. It's almost like going to the Alamo Draft House to see a movie. You just listen to the album. When it's time to flip it to side B, everybody takes a break, get a snack, use the bathroom, talk a little bit about the album. They take a vote to see if you want to continue to listen to side B or something else. It was such a great experience yesterday, and everybody was so kind to me. I just love that concept. Turns out that our host had been to Bonnaroo years ago. He hasn't been in over a decade, so we were kind of catching him up with everything. You and I always talk about how it's always fun to witness Bonnaroo through a new person's eyes. That's part of the reason we do this stuff with Totem. I think it's going to be fun to witness it through the eyes of somebody who hasn't seen all the changes of the past decade.
I agree.
This guy is camping with us. He's going to be bringing a Sprinter van in. And I'm like, yeah, I made really good friends with him yesterday because I want to hang out with him at camp. And after he's been there for a day or two, kind of get his gauge on what's different, what's better, things like that. Here's my question I want to pose to you. What do you think has improved and is for the better when it comes to those changes over the past 10 years? And what do you think we might have lost from your perspective?
Oh, that's wild because I was just filling out a survey yesterday for someone's graduate program that they're doing their thesis on urban planning. And one of the questions was, over the past years since Live Nation came in and all that stuff, what has Bonnaroo gained and what has Bonnaroo lost? It was something like that. So I was just thinking about this yesterday. There's been a lot of infrastructure upgrades, like the permanent bathrooms, but I think a lot of the older culture has changed significantly.
Yeah.
A lot of the unique culture that used to be there has changed. Now I feel like Bonnaroo is getting to be more and more, since we share so many headliners and so many acts with other festivals, it's starting to feel like the festival is no longer has that unique feel, so to speak. I mean, it does, but it's not as much as it, and I hate to use unique in that phrase, but
yeah, I know how you feel about that one.
It's not as much as it used to be back in the olden days.
Yeah, we've talked about lineups a lot in the past, so I won't beat the dead horse about that. But I will say that I think that a lot of the funky stuff in the art experience has become lackluster in the decade plus that you and I have been going. When we first started going, there was crazy things like the bobbleheads and the cuckoo clock and just a lot of random weird things everywhere. And you do see some of that, but I don't think it's to the extent that it was back then. And I think it feels a little too squeaky clean and corporate now, as opposed to a little grungy and freaky and weird like it was over a decade ago. I think that would be my answer to that question I posed to you, is that's what we've lost. I'm not going to sit here and say the lineups aren't any good anymore. We already talked about that. That's just personal.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's not to harp on that. I was just using that as one example. But it is just that core, I don't even know how to describe it, but it's just that core feeling that kind of made Bonnaroo unique. It's like it's slowly been slipping away and away and away. But again, that is because there are so many festivals out there nowadays. You know, when Bonnaroo started, I mean, there were other festivals, but not quite as many as there are today.
Yeah, there's a lot of factors. Way too many for us to go into tonight, but I think that
Exactly.
is a good way to sum it up. And I am interested in hearing from that guy, Dan, once he gets there and has like a day or two under his belt. Like, hey, what do you? I'm going to ask him. We'll get him on the podcast when we record from there. Like, how do you think about it? Like, how is it better? How is it not better?
Mhm.
You
But as
know?
far as what we've gained, the infrastructure upgrades,
Oh yeah, no
the
question about that.
bathrooms,
We
but
we talked
not
about
just,
that a ton too.
but the widening of Bushy Branch Road, all those permanent barns out there and the plazas, the pods.
Yeah. It's funny you say that about the widening of Bushy Branch Road. This is a little bit of the inside baseball kind of stuff that the What podcast usually covers. But this is one thing that I had learned a lot about in the past like 5, 6, 7 years. There
Oh,
has
yeah.
always been an intention to replace that like rackety old bridge on Bushy Branch. You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about
Yeah.
because I drive
You
up the
pass
school
the
bus.
winery. Yeah.
I own the school bus. You drive it.
Well, we don't have to go that way these days, but like, you know, we would come past the winery down that 2-lane road, and then you turn right and come into the grounds. And it's like, it's kind of funny because like you have about like anywhere from like 40,000 people to 100,000 people coming across this bridge that looks like it should be on like some back roads place going to your grandma's house or something like that, you know? And they've been wanting to widen that road to 4 lanes and replace that bridge for I don't know how many years,
Right?
but it is a Charlie Brown football situation. Some kind of weird thing is always pulling that football away, and they never can kick it quite. But it's funny how
Exactly.
every other infrastructure upgrade other than that has happened. I just see a lot of irony in that.
Oh, I was talking about the barns out there, the permanent barns that they put in the plazas.
Yeah, and you know, I would like to think if we didn't have to worry so much about putting in like culverts and Fritz drains and other things like that, we might have had some more permanent barns by now. But it's not the end of the world. The other structures that they put up temporarily get the job done. But the barns are nice. I like going over to the House of Yes and the one that had formerly been the Nashville barn that's not too far from us over in front of the Grove, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Would be nice to have a barn at the group plaza, but I don't think we can complain. We're hooked up pretty well over there. Well, babe, I will be home in less than 48 hours. You and I have some other stuff to do. I have had a good time up here in Jersey. I got one night with them tomorrow. We're going to get up to some shenanigans, but do want to give a shout out to everybody here that hosted me, not just friends of the show, but also new friends I made. Apparently we picked up somebody else in our camp. Babe, we were just hanging out at a bar. A guy came with us over to that listening party that I was talking about. His name's Johnny. He's going to be hanging out with us. You'll know what I'm talking about. Maybe not everybody else will, but he kind of has a very much an Earl vibe. You know who I'm talking about. You'll see for yourself. We'll talk later. But we picked up a new one. I was messaging with Skylar, and we have this like running joke where there was some like press conference where they like took out a terrorist, and it's like, ladies and gentlemen, we got him. We used that GIF again because we got that guy. We got him. But it is looking to be a good one with a lot of good people, and I'm glad we could pick up a couple of them this weekend over here in the New York and Jersey area. Babe, I'm just going to say this just to mess with you. You got anything else?
Oh my God. No, stop.
Well, I don't. I'm about to get a good night's sleep because I got a long day tomorrow and then a travel day the next day after that. Everybody, next week will be guest hosted. I think we have Maddie doing one for us. He has some stuff in mind. Maddie, of course, as you know, does the Group Plaza party these days. And I think before too long, we are going to have an episode hosted by our Totem Scholars as well.
Yeah,
They got
they're
something
supposed to
in
be doing
works.
it this Wednesday.
Okay, well, we got 2 in the can for you guys. And then I suppose the next time you hear from me and Sharla, it will be from Bangkok. We got our fun video episode that we're going to be doing over there.
Now
So-
I heard J-Bone was going to do an episode.
The J-Bone, we are blessed this day that J-Bone is going to hit us up and do a little
Actually, I
something.
haven't heard that. I'm putting it out there that he is
Oh,
going.
I've been putting that out there for a long time, but he gets very busy at his day job. I understand. We should shout out J-Bone. He went to that show at the Brooklyn Bowl in Nashville the other night with, oh gosh, what's the guy's name? This just came to mind right now. Joey.
Joey
embarrassing.
Jojo?
Joey Jojo. That's him. But yeah, he got his J-Bone.
Joey Valanson, right here.
Joey Vance. Yeah, that's right. Thank you, babe. He got his hat signed. When people see J-Bone, JB, in Nashville, it's like a Bigfoot sighting. People are like, oh my God, is that him? It's really him. Get a picture. It's like that.
Guy?
Yeah. He has become a legend. So we will twist his arm and get him to do an episode before too long. But yeah, like I said, a couple of guest episodes are coming the next 2 weeks. And next time you hear from me and Sharla, it is going to be from one of the greatest cities in the world, Bangkok, Thailand. So we will see you then. See you guys in a couple of weeks. You're in good hands while we're gone. Get out there and radiate positivity.
Bye.